This is a journey into sound.
Salutona, Mikoi. Welcome to another episode of The Young Bureaucrat in Brussels. Are you excited? I know I'm excited. I know my guest is excited. I know everybody back home is excited because I know you've been waiting for another episode. It's been 6 months. I know it's been 6 months. A lot of stuff happened. Really lot of stuff happened. Like it's been 6 months of first very good weather. Since the previous episode to this one, very good weather in Brussels. You know, Brussels, even though the sun may not shine, our hearts and our brains always shine. So it's always a matter of being in sync, right? Then it's also been months of summer. It's time for the rentrée, as we would say back in the culture of Europe. I never already told you, but I say it in the culture of Europe. And by that we use terms like l'esprit du collège, and we use a lot of stuff in French, you know? It makes it sound like we are, which we do are, extremely smart. What else? Oh, yeah. Okay, so what are we talking about today? That's a very good question, right? I heard you. I heard you back home asking that. What are we talking about today? Today we're talking about, it's the answer to last episode, right? So last episode, as you remember, because I know you listen to this podcast before you go to bed to make you smooth into a very nice night of sleep in your path to become the next commissioner and/or member of the European Parliament, MEP for short. Last episode, we had interviewed the last macho man in Europe, so-called, at least, so-called. I know there's, he's not the last, he's not the last, but it sells if you call yourself the last macho man in Europe. So, and that's the most important, right? That's the most important. That's why our economy is thriving right now. So, we had a very nice episode. We talked about how men are in crisis. There's a big crisis on masculinity. Men cannot be men anymore. Boys cannot be boys anymore. And to me, honestly, it was eye-opening. Nice to finally talk about these topics because men voices are never heard these days. And so it was super nice to talk about these topics with such a brilliant author. And today we're going to have the reply, right? So today we're going to give voice to the other side. As you know, working in your politics means that all sides are equally right and equally wrong. We don't like extremes. Extremes fucking suck. Sorry for saying the word fucking, but I say it again. Oops. But the point is, let's give voice to both sides. Center is where the virtue is, and you know that I rarely brag in this podcast, and it's not like I learned it in the culture of Europe. I never told you that I say in the culture of Europe, but I say in the culture of Europe. But being in the center position, as I am, coincidentally alongside with the European Union, so we can give voice to both equally right and wrong sides, right? And today we're going to interview a feminist author. She's going to tell us a reaction to the words that we talked about on that episode. She's going to tell us about her views on feminism. We're going to talk about the questions that really matter, which is, has feminism gone too far? I think you already know the answer, but it's always good to hear from an author, specialized author, and talk about that. And yeah, I'll be looking forward to hear your comments and to hear what you think about this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Actually, I haven't been in a podcast with a man. Usually it's only women. And we kind of took over this industry. It's basically you listen so many podcasts of two women or one woman talking to the other one. So it's interesting now to talk with a man about these things. So thank you for inviting.
Thank you for coming. I'm glad that you bring it up because indeed it definitely looks like there's no space for men in the podcast industry. Women are talking, women are saying everything they want. Every time a man tries to bring any opinion, like very nice guys like Joe Rogan, for example, try to bring any single opinion to the game, and they are seen, oh, man's voice cannot be part of here just because they are part of everywhere else. So I think indeed it's time to bring men to the podcast industry. It's very absent, and thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you for having the podcast.
I'd like to start by asking you. So, as I mentioned, I had we had a man author talking to us 6 months ago. I'm sure people back home listen to this podcast on repeat before going to bed, so they know exactly every word that was said. But I can bring them on again and remind all of us what they're talking about. So we talked about how these ideals that men should deconstruct are wrong because there's nothing to be deconstructed about. That women have always liked men the way they are, and nowadays there's some fringe in society that wants things to change. And we concluded with a very nice tone to allow men to be men. Do you wanna comment?
Yes, I think you touch upon interesting topics like we need more masculine energy in the workplace. And for instance, I thought immediately about this new thing of period leaves, for example. Why are we allowing women to go on a period leave just because they feel pain? I never felt pain on my period, so I don't really believe that there are other women that during their periods they need to take days off and not work. I think it's just an excuse for being less productive, and that is goes completely against feminism and this idea of like we want to be, and we want to show men that we can be as productive as they are. So I think this is a nonsense, and things like that should not be allowed, and we should not be in these progressive feminism ideals that actually are not bringing anything to feminism, to the feminist cause at all.
Yeah, yeah. That's a very good topic. I've been engaged in some discussions about that really recently. Isn't that precisely the opposite of equality?
Yeah, indeed. Like we are just adapting to women and to period cycles and to and to our biological needs.
Biological needs.
And I don't think it makes sense because we won't achieve equality if we consider these kinds of things at all. Like, what do we mean by equality? I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to be done at the moment that we haven't been having for such a long time. And then also the pressure from other feminists, I would say, like pressure that I feel that I need to behave in some way to be perceived as a feminist. And I think it's similar to the toxic masculinity and to the macho pressure
yeah.
that you were mentioning in the last episode. I also do feel that pressure as fellow feminists. And if we want to build a better society, I think that pressure shouldn't exist.
Thank you. Thank you. Therefore, just to make the distinction, you talked about being a fellow feminist with those feminists that put pressure, and which as a feminist author. Therefore, how do you see yourself being a feminist in opposition to those radical and completely out of touch line of feminism?
So I think, for example, now I have this pressure of not wearing bra because the radical feminists think that I should burn it. But what if I want to wear a bra? Like, I don't need to feel obliged of not wearing just because I should be burning it in a famous square and show to the world that we can wear anything we want. And
Plus, sorry, sorry to interrupt you. Isn't that also contributing to climate change if you burn bras?
exactly. More CO2 emissions. It doesn't even make sense. I haven't thought about it. Thank you. So I feel that pressure, and feminism is about wearing whatever I want. So if I don't want to wear a bra, if I don't need to, or if I don't want to, I don't need to. But if I want to, I can choose about it, and not feeling the pressure from those radical feminists.
Okay, okay. So it's yourself more like freedom feminist, in addition to this oppressive.
Yeah.
Mm.
Feminism is to freedom ourselves, to freedom everyone, and maybe we went too far away with the radical feminists.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think I really think, of course, my opinion doesn't matter because I'm just the moderator here, but also hearing the episode 6 months ago, I think we really went too far. Because nobody talks about, for example, once again, nobody is talking about the pressure that men have to be men, to provide, to make things happen, to take a decision. Nobody is talking about it. And sure, okay, you can see that men are empowered, men are taking decisions, but who goes to war and dies? It's men. Yeah, women stay home, they take care of their kids, often with just one wage. They have no support to raise them. But is it better than getting shot while fighting for a war in a faraway place? Maybe not.
Indeed, and I've been arguing that we should also go to the war, and we should also be called to go to the war. Not that I would go, because I'm a flower, but yeah, I think we should definitely be allowed to. Or equality is also about that. So call me to the war as a woman. Call women to the war, but please don't make more wars because we already had it enough. We should stop it, actually.
Okay, sure, we can agree on that. And the EU is a peace project, so we're always talking about ending wars. Even right now, our public discourse is about ending wars. It's about, of course, maybe if we increase our defense budget by sometimes, that would be better for peace, right?
Yeah,
But,
indeed.
but the point is to end war.
Yeah, and the defense industry, for sure. Despite the EU live and be built upon that.
I want you to comment on something though. I actually have a friend that works at the United Nations, and she had done some supposed research. I don't know about the validity of this. That states, that more feminist states where women's rights are supposedly more protected. Of course, we can talk about a full debate if abortion is a woman's right, or if it's also a way to force some women to abort. Because nowadays feminists want to force everybody to abort. I think we should talk a bit about this. But she said, like, states where women's rights are perceived to be more granted are also states that provoke less wars. We have perhaps cases of like Jacinta Ardern in New Zealand, or no need to even go that far to the leader being a woman, like a state where even if the leader is a man, and as we know, men can be even more feminist than women sometimes, that if women's rights are perceived to be followed, that there are less wars happening. Do you think that makes sense? Is it a coincidence?
Maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe it also has a relationship with our with us women being emotional, because we feel that empathy to other people, and we are not as rational. We are more emotional than men. Therefore, we think way more about the suffering that war could cause, and yeah, and we decide not going to war, or not contributing to that.
Yeah. So you think more about the suffering war causes and less about the profits of defense company shareholders.
Yes, indeed, and
It's a bit naive, no?
I think the world should be run in that way, um, and unfortunately, it's not. But yeah, maybe a bit naive. But that's how New Zealand and how Jacinda Ardern led, because maybe she was naive enough, and she was emotional enough to lead a country with empathy. Yet she was considered one of the best leaders in the world. Maybe we need more Jacinda Ardens.
Maybe, but I mean, to some extent, right? We not go that far. There needs to be someone that actually allows Lockheed Martin, if I recall the name correctly. It's not like I have stocks on them on anything, to survive, because those guys are trying to survive, right, and to help us to survive. Okay, I see your point. Now, do we still need feminism when we already have, for example, in the EU, we already have two presidents that are women. We have many states that have had women as presidents or chancellors, right? Do we still? I mean, what's left to get? What's left to gain? You already have women in power positions, like.
Indeed, I think we went too far with the feminism. Can you think about having Meloni um, in running a country, for example?
Yeah.
That's when you know that feminism went too far.
And Meloni is a known feminist, right?
Yeah, exactly. Having a far right feminist, like, we don't need to take all those places. We need to choose the wars worth to fight for, and I don't think that have those many places of power for women is good enough for the cause or for the feminism. And of course, then people think that we are radicals. Look at Meloni again. Radical feminist, indeed.
Yeah. I mean, if I think about Meloni, all I hear about is radical feminism. She's bringing power as a woman to the government. She's passing a lot of feminist laws. She's like, I mean, okay, critics would say she's not like making abortion legal in Italy, or she's
Banning protests, for example.
yeah, but
Feminist protests.
but like, isn't the point of feminism to allow women to be as oppressive to the working class as men are? Isn't that equality?
Indeed, that is a type of feminist that Melania goes to, and I think maybe we went too far with that.
Okay, it's good, guys. Back home, it's good that you hear this. We have a woman confirming we have gone too far in feminism. Not to say it's always men saying that. I mean, not every man would say that. Some men are wrong, of course. Not every man is right all the time. But yeah, okay, it's good that we have it here clear. It's an opinion, obviously. These opinions in the podcast are just opinions. It doesn't mean they're right or wrong. But as you probably know, I don't know if you know that, but I stay at the College of Europe, which is my opinion. There's a bit of a layer, and our guest today is very knowledgeable, and it's good to bring all this stuff to the table. Now, meanwhile, I also wanted to bring this up to you. I've been reading some stuff recently. I'm actually reading Bell Hooks. I don't know if you know the author, and
Didn't know that men would be reading such authors, but yeah.
well, I mean, men like to read good books, and if the book is written by a woman, why not? For example, I also read the memoirs of Margaret Thatcher, another iconic feminist. So I think a man between able to read any author.
She is such an
And,
inspiration, indeed.
Margaret Thatcher, I think, should be remembered in history for her very positive feminist views. But going back to Mrs. Hooks, Madam Hooks, I mean, doesn't really matter, right? It's the same. It's a woman, so on. Yeah. Going back to her views, and as a man, so this concept that we hear sometimes about allyship, as a man that reads feminist authors, what's the reward that we get? Because I mean, as you can imagine, feminism is all exclusively about making women more equal, or if you are a radical, better than men in the workplace. But fortunately, you're not a radical, so it's okay. So there is nothing for men in feminism. There is like all these patriarchy constructions severely benefit us in every aspect of our lives. All of us are very happy. Our mental health is intact. We are striving. We don't have to talk about our feelings because, as we said, that's stuff for women to talk about. So what's in it for a man to read feminist authors, and how can we be rewarded as men for doing that?
Women's attention. I think men have been underestimating the power of being a feminist. Like, a woman likes another man to fight for their own rights. And I think a lot of men underestimate that attention that you could have from other women. So for feminists, as a man saying that he's a feminist and he's an ally, and he believes he has the same values as a feminist woman. He believes in the equality and in a equal society. A woman will think about it and will pay more attention to that man. And I think that not a lot of men have been considering that, but it's actually a very interesting power move to conquer girls. So yeah, please, men, start being more feminists and telling us that we are feminists. We don't need machos. We don't need more machos because there is already so many of them, so many Andrew Tate followers. We need more feminist men bragging about it, bragging about being feminists.
So you think we should write that in our LinkedIn bios?
Yeah, just for the sake of getting attention from women.
Okay, okay. That's
It's a power move. It's power move.
guys. This is tips, okay? Like back home, guys and girls, of course. This is tips for back home. Don't forget this. Okay, interesting, because that goes a bit against what our last author said. He said like women really like conservative and men that take control and are acting.
But
so you would disagree?
think about Andrew Tate. Like, he's single. He hasn't been married. Like,
Mm.
why are we following a man that is single and has not a good dating life? Like, please, you are not following the good examples. Andrew Tate is not a good example at all.
Okay, okay. Interesting. Yeah. Because sometimes I do wonder if men really follow Andrew Tate because they actually think he's right about women, or if they just like Andrew Tate a lot, which, hey, no judgment, okay? He's a nice guy, he's bald with beard, and bald guys with beard are usually very handsome, so maybe that's the case. Okay, okay. Good that we're reaching these conclusions. I think perhaps the podcast is coming to an end. Do you have any other?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing that I in a sense, in a certain extent, I agree with what you've said in the last episode, and that your guest said. That is, we need more machos than men with no emotions involved. And I totally agree with this statement, even though I didn't agree with some of the statements that were made in that previous podcast, because it's already too hard to deal with our own emotions as a woman. And we need now to deal with the emotions of the man. So please don't do that. It's already too many things to handle with our emotional. So men, I don't think they should show them, at least to us, to deal with.
Yeah.
Or at least if you show them, tell us and show that you know how to deal with your own emotions, and don't put the burden on us to deal with your own emotions.
Yeah. No, I see what you mean. Like you may be like you may be going through like some what's word for that? Premenstrual
The CPF.
TPM, is that? You might be going through that, and then the guy comes, and then your boyfriend comes to you and tells you, oh, but I'm feeling bad because my parents are fighting, and like you don't want that, right? You want your man to be like, it's okay, girl, don't worry, I got you flowers, I got you chocolates, it's gonna be a good night.
Not flowers, please, but plants. It's better.
Plants in general.
Yes, because imagine that you break up with a guy, then the plant is still there. It's still there to remember you about the guy. So it's kind of in your space. Yeah, the flowers die, but the plants never die. So it's a good tip.
Wow, man, this podcast is being of good content. Okay. Yeah, although, but that's also an argument. Then, if plants never die, then what's wrong with the deforestation? They're gonna go back.
Sorry, can you repeat again?
If plants never die, then why are we so concerned about deforestation? They're gonna grow again.
Yeah, I mean, a plant that you offer to someone, and that doesn't take as a lot of.
Okay, because this is a serious podcast. We have to be serious about our facts here.
Indeed, and they never die if you water them, of course, but they are still there. And they take longer to die, at least, than flowers that are already dead.
True. Wow. That's a good metaphor. No, that's a good metaphor. I hope that this podcast has been very useful to you. Don't forget, you are now again one step closer to becoming the next commissioner and / or member of the European Parliament. This was it for today. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for inviting. It was a pleasure, and hopefully you will invite more fellow feminists.
Indeed, hopefully. But of course, as you said, like the kind of moderate, free feminists.
Yeah.
It's also a way to make sure that this podcast always has the best content, the best people, and the best speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And have a good day.
This is a journey into sound.